Welcome back to Rocky Mountain Residential, a monthly podcast by MCM Collective. I'm Kelly McBartlett.
I'm Christine Cavalier.
And I'm super excited. We have a special guest with us today, Arica Martinez, who's the founder and CEO of Colorado Staging Design and Media. Arica, I was thinking about this. We have known each other for, probably 15 years?
About 15 years. Yep.
That is crazy. So you were not doing staging when I first met you.
No.
You were doing fun stuff with furniture. Tell us about your journey.
Yeah, so I was stay-at-home mom looking for just an outlet to have some fun, but also make a little money. And then you actually came to one of my sales. And shortly after that, you had approached me about staging. You said that your stager was retiring, and you gave me a chance. I think it was a little risky, but you gave me a chance. You asked me if I could help you out with this particular property, and I was like, sure. Yeah. So I just did what I could, and that's really how it started.
I don't know if you remember this, Christine, but there was no risk on my part at all. I just knew that she would say yes, or at least I hope she would, because she is so talented.
Very talented.
Yeah, super talented.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you launched Colorado Staging then, almost 10 years ago? Does that sound right?
Pretty close. We became official business about 8 years ago, but started getting checks about 10 years ago. That's when I started to start rolling in, clients little by little. Started with consultations, not much staging in the very beginning, but it's grown organically through the last 10 years. And so now we have about 75 homes worth of furniture.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. And we have about 15 team members, all doing various jobs. So
I don't know a lot about this world staging. I know that you sit on some national industry councils. Give us a sense of how does your company compare to other companies out there across the nation in terms of volume, in terms of size, all of that?
So we actually do a lot high volume, and I didn't really realize that until we went to these different conferences throughout the United States. We stage close to 300 homes a year, where when we started out, we were more of a boutique staging company. So we only maybe did about 4 a month-ish. Now we do about 30. But the thing that I really love and that I'm proud about our company is that we continue to educate ourselves of the industry. So we're not just, throwing furniture in a house. I actually fly out. I'm on weekly Zoom meetings to continuously just educate myself and my team. We strategize. We have, planning for the next year. And so we take it a lot more seriously, I think, than some other companies who are just starting out or who kind of just dabble in it here and there.
That's great. So you've won some national awards when it comes to staging too. Tell us about those.
My most recent award was top 100 most influential people in the staging industry. So that was awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I've won that 2 years in a row. But my company has won top 10 staging company in the U.S. Best vacant stage. We've gotten that award. So there was over 250 applicants, and we won by a landslide, apparently. Best occupied, and then just best stager.
Wow.
So
good for you.
Thank you.
And who knew? We just get to take advantage of all of this amazingness.
Yes.
Right?
We do.
So Christine and I are both huge believers in staging, and so we're excited to have you on today. Yeah. What questions do you have for us?
Well, I think, a lot of times homeowners that are getting ready to sell their home, are like, well, why would I stage? What's the value in staging? Because it's obviously a much bigger process when we bring a stager in. So when somebody's asking, why would I stage or why would I not stage? How do you respond to that?
First and foremost, our goal, along with, the agents, is that we want to get more money and spend less days on market. And so the society that we live in, the culture that we live in, we're in a swipe left, swipe right world. And so people are just immediately looking at pretty pictures. And, people are automatically just looking at a home online on their phone right away. And so we just want to put our best foot forward. And this is a large investment for people. Right. So we want it to look great. But honestly, a lot of people want to be like, they feel like they want to be on a show, like the final reveal. You know, they want to walk into a home and like look at all the pretty things. And so we want to captivate that. But like I said, our biggest goal is to less days on market and more money for the seller.
Yeah. What kind of pushback do you get, like, obstacles or hurdles do you get from homeowners or realtors when it comes to staging?
It depends on like who it's for. Like if a seller, if they've been in a home for a really long time, sometimes they tend to take things a little personal when we're trying to depersonalize. And so that's an obstacle. But for the most part, we get a lot of people who are just like, I'm willing to do whatever. They're very open. I know some people might be concerned about what the cost is. But for sure, staging is a lot less than a first price reduction. We always try to tell, sellers that as well. But really, it's just kind of having people come into someone's home after they've been in there, trying to disconnect themselves when they see us bring our stuff in. And so we try to be very gentle with that and understand and take that into consideration. But cost and just people taking things a little personal.
Like attachment to particular items, or I spent this much money on this couch. Like, how do you not want to use it?
Yes.
That can
So that's challenging.
Yeah, that's good. And it brings up a good point. And I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but your first price reduction, if you are on the market and maybe you've not staged, that first price reduction can be, $10,000-$20,000. What do you typically see for your sellers?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think that's a really great way to point it out to a seller about how the cost really pays for itself. Because you're right. Yeah, staging is going to cost less than that first price reduction. We're big believers in staging. So Arica, I think you pretty much stage all of our listings. So we don't run across that, but I do think that is really a valid point. Arica, are there statistics out there that show like staged versus unstaged home? Like how much faster does it sell? Does it sell for more money? Are there some statistics out there that can support that?
Yeah. So for sure, the biggest statistic is 82% of buyers really feel like they want to see a staged home.
Okay.
So that definitely makes a difference. Yeah. So people always agree, yes, we would prefer to see a staged home. And then as far as staging goes, it's anywhere the return on investment for, the upfront staging cost, you get about 7 to 10%, back on that.
Okay.
And then I believe
that's a pretty good return on investment, especially if you think about a home only being on the market for maybe 30 to 60 days. To be able to get 7 to 10% return on your money, and I'll sign up every day. Can I just go do that?
It's pretty great. And then just like in our area, Northern Colorado, because obviously the days on market can shift depending on where you live. But for instance, there was a time when homes were on the market for 62 days, where our days on market were about 7 to 9. So,
wow.
So
that's a big difference.
Yes. From a staged home to a vacant home, about 62 days. And then a staged home was about, the 7 to 9 days. So those are our stats that we...
Which really brings up a good point about a vacant home being staged, right?
Yep.
What do you see the value in that? Obviously you said the days on market are so much less, but, walk through why it's so important to stage a vacant home especially.
The biggest impact that I believe that we create is that emotional connection with buyers. When they walk into a vacant home, some people just may not be able to visualize themselves living there. But when we have furniture in the home, immediately buyers are just kind of like in love with the idea of that this could be their home. This is how I could live. And so instead of it just being a business transaction and that's kind of it, we want to make it, have an emotional connection. And so for us, we've seen that when we stage the main living spaces, the living room, the kitchen, the dining, and then the primary, those are the rooms that we see the most success with people, just being...
Right. So you don't feel it's necessary then in most vacant houses to like stage the entire thing? Because I do have clients ask me that a lot. Why aren't you staging the entire house? Like, why aren't you putting every bedroom together?
So there's another step that's within the first 18 seconds, buyers will know whether they're going to buy that house or not.
Okay.
And so by the time they get to the basement bedroom or at a secondary bedroom upstairs, they've already made up their minds.
Oh, that's a great fact. I didn't know that. Did you?
I didn't, but
I didn't know that either. Okay, we have 18 seconds to make sure that our clients know whether they're going to buy. That's the first 18 seconds. Okay, we're done. Let's go.
Because we've had some people who are like, can you just stage the primary? And I'm like, it's all the way back there. Like, that's not going to give you that impact, you know? So we know that stat. We keep an eye on that. And so that's why it's like these main, you know, front rooms are the most important.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting to me because as you're talking, Arica, what comes up for me when I'm showing property is if it's a vacant home, people either say in almost every room of the house, living room primarily or master bedroom, this is too large, the space is too large, or the space is too small. And I know that staging would solve that problem, which is why we believe in it.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
you know, I think it's also sometimes adding a room that you know is going to become an issue. For that exact question, can I fit a bed in this bedroom? Maybe adding that to the initial stages of rent. So,
Yep. You guys do a great job with giving us a heads up when you're meeting with your homeowners. And so if there is a problem area, you guys have always been so great. We've had other clients who are like, okay, normally we do these rooms that we stage with, you know, we call it the heart of the home, but we think this one bedroom might need additional help.
Right.
And so,
And there's so much value in that.
Yeah.
For those problematic areas.
So what do you think, Arica? Your stages are very full when it comes to decor and art, outside of just the furniture. I mean, I think when most people think about staging, they think about furniture. What's the value in adding all of the decor and you know,
kind of like that layered look.
Yeah.
Just not just like a couch or, we have those pillows. It just, again, it's people like to see pretty things. I mean, they want to see how they would live, you know?
Right.
And so it just doesn't feel right if, you know, you don't have all those extra accessories and, you know, art and things like that. So it just doesn't look finished, I guess. And
So
doesn't feel
is
like
that how you would define, like, how would you define a quality stage?
How would I define a quality stage? That's a tough one. I think if you could walk in and it just, because we've had people who are like, can I just buy like what it looks like everything that's in it? And we've sold full homes of furniture before. I guess that would be for me is just when I walk in and I just see like, I don't know, just the layers.
Yeah.
And it just feels cozy.
Right. That adds.
I don't think anyone's ever asked for
personality, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I think you do a great job. I think your stages are definitely quality, but it's just interesting, like, you know, how do you define that so that people know what a good stage is versus what maybe not such a great
and
stage
I think
is.
scale is actually really, now that I'm thinking about it a lot more, if the scale of furniture is off,
Right.
it just doesn't make any sense. It's almost like just get it out and have it as a vacant home. Because if you have either, like you said, a really large room or a really small room, in a large room you have a really small couch and, you know, the scale is off with the side chairs and things like that. It just is, that's not quality. So making sure that you put the proper furniture in for the square footage.
So how do you approach architectural styles in homes? Is it any different approach? Is it the same approach? What does that look like for you?
Just for business, like so that we're able to streamline, we have like our look is called like transitional. And so we do try to have furniture very neutral. And so, yes, we do try to think about and take in consideration the architect, you know, in all of those things. But we want to appeal to all buyers.
Right.
Because even if they have like a craftsman style, but they go buy a mid-century modern home, we want to make sure that the furniture can just be very neutral.
Yeah.
Because not everybody really values sometimes the architectural structure of a home. They maybe just like the location better or,
Right.
you know, it's close to schools or the size or whatever, or the price range. So we definitely don't put furniture that doesn't make sense. That's for sure.
Right.
So you adjust some, but mostly you're kind of making it work for most.
Right. just it's kind of hard to just be style specific, and as a business owner trying to buy certain, because then those pieces might sit in the warehouse and not get used very often. So yeah.
When I think you and I both had homeowners, sellers that have been very focused on architectural style, and we had to say, trust us.
Yeah.
Erica's team knows what they're doing, and it sells, and they're pleased, and it looks much better than they thought it would.
Yeah.
But it's a good point to bring to the table. So
one other thing we haven't really talked about yet is, like that consultation. So occupied, we've been talking a lot about vacant stages, right? What about the occupied home? The seller's not going to move out. And you already touched on earlier, like maybe they've lived there for a really long time.
Yep.
And talk about what you do in that kind of situation, as far as, do you make recommendations for maybe some paint, carpet, and then what else do you do to help that house look its best?
So if there's one service I feel like every real estate agent should offer to their clients, it's at least a consultation. So even if there's no staging involved.
Right.
We have a home preparation advisor, and she goes in and she will help just the homeowners get on track, gives them lists to do, gives them a priority list, tells them things that are just not even worth it. We ask a lot of questions to gain information. And so if a seller's like, hey, we want top dollar, and we're like, oh, the house is probably shouldn't be listed that high. We don't say that. But
Right.
We definitely don't say that. But, we ask those questions. And then at that point, that's how we give our recommendations.
Right.
So if they're asking, top dollar, and they're going to be, so then we walk through the entire house with them during that consultation and give them all those recommendations. We leave them with a packet with our favorite paint colors and, things like that. So they at least have like an idea of what they could do. So if they just need a consultation and that's kind of it, that's great. We get in, we get out. But then there are a lot of times where we'll assess that they might need additional items brought in.
Right.
So maybe they have a couch, maybe they have a coffee table, but they don't have the cute little decor or the pillows, or their art is outdated.
Right.
We can then bring that in. So I know that's like a service that not many people offer anymore.
Yeah. And it is valuable. I mean, I know we've used that a lot too for people who are not going to move out of the house. It really helps freshen it a lot.
It's so helpful. And, I a lot of times, I don't know if you're the same, but I will get sellers that say, oh, I've looked at HGTV, or I've looked at some advice online, and they say I should get rid of my personal pictures and declutter. And I have to explain to them, like, getting a stager in here to help you understand exactly what needs to happen will be so helpful, and it will make things so much lower stress for you.
Yes.
So is that thing for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love occupieds personally. They're one of my favorites. We see such a transformation. Yeah. I think I love them the most because that's like how real people live. Like they're real furniture. And then I love to see their faces when they see the end result. Yeah, right. Because it's like, oh my gosh, it's some of my stuff with some updated, items. And it gives them just like a sense of pride, and makes them want to go and, decorate their house like that on the next time. So I love occupied stages. But yeah, I mean, we do those quite a bit. That's about 30% of our business, or occupied staging.
Do you ever have those sellers, after they move on, reach out to you again to be like, help us with our new space?
All the time.
Really?
Yep, all the time. So one of our other services that we offer is called a restyle. And so that is if there's zero furniture or accessories being brought in, they already have some like really good stuff to work with. Even if it's not 100% like updated and modern, they have enough stuff. So we'll just come in and rearrange what they already have.
Yeah.
And so we let the buyers or the sellers, either way, whoever wants us to come, saying, hey, we can help you do that.
Right.
Like basically you just unpack all your stuff and, put in a pile of the stuff that you really, really love, maybe a donate pile, and then we'll come in and just
that's a great service.
set it all up for you.
That's a super good service. So what they probably also then start having questions for you about investing in furniture and investing in decor. And what are some general guidelines that you give to people?
Because we are in so many homes, and you had mentioned before, like if somebody has like a really expensive couch and we're telling them to get rid of it, I generally tell people don't spend too much money. Like, don't go spend $10,000 on a couch or whatever. Because
Tell my husband that.
he will listen. I'm trying.
You know that. You and I both know that.
It's like, okay, if you can do it or whatever. But because things just change so much with trends and things like that, it's like, if you are going to spend that much money on a couch, just make sure it's like really clean and like timeless. Because people do want, I mean, with changing trends, people do want different items. So it's kind of like buy stuff that you love, of course, spend a little bit more money on the higher, use pieces.
Right.
But ultimately just get what you like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just buy what you like, and then we can help it make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so how do you approach staging for sale versus staging for living? Is it different, or do you find it's usually the same?
Oh, it's a lot different.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot different. So that's one of the, things that we let sellers know. It's just like, okay, we're shifting into selling mode now, and not living mode. And a lot of times our goal is also to support the photographers because, we need to position the room so that it photographs well too. So maybe, we have to rearrange their couch and like, sorry, that may be your favorite recliner that you watch TV in, but we're going to have to switch things up a little bit. And most of the time people completely understand. And obviously we minimize because we don't want a super full look. And so that's the difference of, living and selling are totally different. And we try to work with what they have.
I think that's interesting. I hadn't thought about the photography part of it before. It makes perfect sense, right? But that you are that thoughtful in how you're placing your staging furniture and your staging items, knowing what the photographer's view is. Because a lot of times you do see those really awkward photos of a room. And I'm sure it's because the photographer just couldn't get the camera angle correct because of how the furniture's laid out.
Yep.
So super valuable.
Yeah, that is super interesting. And I didn't know that about your service either, but it makes a lot of sense to me because how often do you see a home online for a client and you're like, oh, Arica staged that?
Yeah.
This probably.
Oh, you totally know. Yeah. Because you can, you have a very signature look, which is a great look.
Thank you. Well, we do, like, there are times that we can't get away from it. We also try to be like, okay, how would real people be, like, living in here? And so sometimes we can't get away with it. But, we like to work together.
So what advice could you leave us with for both realtors and homeowners or sellers? What's some general advice you would give us in working with you as a stager?
Advice with working with me as a stager.
Or general advice.
General advice, life advice, just
What to do? Anything you want to talk about, Arica, just tell us.
maybe just anything. That's a general question, just general advice.
Like
For,
what
design or staging or...
Yeah, and what makes it easy to work with a realtor as a staging company? What do you like to see?
Well, I'd like to see, working with you guys for all these years, it's been awesome. I think we have a great communication and we're on the same page.
Right.
And we both value the same thing and, working together. I think a lot of it is just trusting the process. That would be my biggest advice to sellers is just trust the process. Trust you guys and then trust that you're going to be bringing, the right team in, the right vendors and your marketing strategy and all of those things. I probably want to say that's my biggest advice. Is just trust the process.
I think that's great advice.
That's a great advice. Well, this has been really fun. Hopefully you'll come back and join us for another episode sometime. Okay.
Yeah. That's super great to see you, Arica,
Yes, nice
as
to
always.
see you.
Yeah.
Okay, that wraps up this episode. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.